Just take a minute or so in terms of. All right, so very good afternoon to my dear learners, and here we are today, uh, back this week with our problem solving session of understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. As we are all aware that it's a 12-week journey, and we are here at the very sixth week, which marks the halfway to our journey, to our 12-week journey. It's the longest journey. But the NPTEL courses, there are three durations of courses: 4 week, 8 weeks, and 12 weeks. So this course pertains to the 12-week journey, and today marks the midpoint of this journey, which is this week sixth, and we'll be discussing and meeting about this week's content and a whole lot more of things. And just a minute, right? So before we begin for the day, let me just try and contemplate upon what we have done so far in this journey. And in this journey, we started with week one to week five to the previous week, and in week six, we discuss upon certain new aspects in terms of understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. We have got the content recap. We have got the content recap into three different ways, wherein we have the visual screenshot summary. We also have a consent map. It's like a mind mapping thing which has flowchart arrows where we can understand, what happened, how the content is grouped in it. I've also made a AI generated video of the course which gives a very concise and brief summary to week sixth content, and I think it will be helpful to our participants in that sense. Now, every week we have been following certain aspects, which I would like to remind you. Now, this is about the presentation format. So what we usually do is that we have a set of protocol slides which we follow and which we play each and every session. Uh, the intent has been that a new learner can join in any of these sessions, and we want that even if a learner joins in for just one session, then also we would like to prep and inform that learner as much as possible with respect to the basic, the basic curriculum, the basic criteria, the basic information about this particular course, right? And so that has been the idea about our problem solving sessions. As we have mentioned that we start with a set of protocol slides. These slides are common. Many a times, if a learner has been frequent to these sessions, then for them it might be a repeat of content. But as I said, these contents are something which we repeat because we have seen in past that a new learner had come up at the week 11th or week 12th as well, right? So that remains our intent, that even if you are attending it for one session, then we would like to provide all critical points around this particular course, right? Now, with that brief primer about this session, let me introduce myself. I am Abhishek Srivastav. Uh, so what we can do is I can just use the whiteboard here. Speaking like about this and so just give me a minute. What I'll do is I'll just add a slide here. Let me share my screen then. So basically, I'm introducing myself, and my name is Abhishek Srivastav. And so my undergraduate uh, course have been the Arch. Those who may not know, it is Bachelor Bachelor of Architecture. It's normally a 5 year course. And with respect to my post graduation, which is also called PG, I did my MDes, which is called Master of Design. And here the specialization was industrial design. And this was a 2 year course. Okay. So, in all, it was 7 years of education in terms of architecture and industrial design, and both have been done at SPA Delhi, which is one of the CFTI centrally funded technical institutions in India and a very premier institution for architecture, right? So this was around 2006 to 11. This was around 2011 to 13. And from 2013, I started my professional practice, wherein I joined Infosys, which is an IT giant and a very big name now from software companies out of India. It's working out of Bangalore region. And then I started working at Think Design, which has its presence in many cities across India. And then I started my own company called Vilava Design. Okay, so that is where the entrepreneurship started for me. So I was the uh, director in this company, director and partner in this company. And we're there for around 2 to 3 years. I worked into this particular firm. And then I started my educational journey wherein I joined SPA, Department of Industrial Design, as a visiting faculty. This was followed by the World University of Design. It's in Haryana again as a design educator here, and then followed by UP Institute of Design in Noida, and here again as an assistant professor uh, in the NCR region. And then I took the big decision of moving on to continue my research journey. Okay, so that is where I joined IIT Roorkee, is the Department of Design. Now, the interesting aspect is that I also applied for the PMRF, which is the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship. It's a very prestigious fellowship, one of the most prestigious ones in India, and only around 1,000 scholars are selected for this. And so I was one of the fellows of this, and the PMRF mandates us to teach for 1 hour per week. And that is where NPTEL has given us this platform wherein, we take up one course and we conduct weekly sessions. Right. So I think now it's quite understood the entire chronology of my background, my profile, and how we have started this particular journey around the NPTEL. So I'm a TA for this course. I'm a teaching assistant for this course, and my duty is to take the problem solving sessions, and which are of around, these are like 2 hours session per week. And today is the sixth week's content which we will be discussing, and we'll also be discussing the set of new questions. Right. So let me formally welcome you. The course is Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. The instructor is Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, and we are today meeting for the week sixth. And today is 30th of August. The next session will be in September now, right? So we have conducted sessions in July, we've conducted sessions in August. Now we'll do September is the third month, right? And we'll be going up till October, right? So that is where we are covering the entire 12-week journey in 4 months. Okay. And like I said, today is the midpoint of this 12-week journey. Okay. Today we are at the center stage, the very midpoint of this journey. Okay. So this was about myself. And yeah, so this is the general idea. So we conduct live sessions which are there to help you in the current run of course. We discuss and solve week specific assignments. So currently we'll be doing it. So for the today's session, we'll be doing it for the week sixth content. Okay. So whatever has been discussed, elaborated, presented in week six, we'll be discussing it and we'll be having the set of 10 questions. Okay. So these 10 questions will be different from the live assignment. I hope everybody understands that. Live assignment is something which is there in your NPTEL platform, and they are the means to assess you because there is a mark criteria attached to it. But the questions which we discuss, right, these 10 questions, there is no marking criteria. We are just doing it to help you, understand the question, understand how the answers have been coming up in these questions, what is the thought process behind it, what is the screen validation around it. Okay. And we try and discuss those things. We also respond to the questions and queries. So if there are any questions or queries, we discuss it. Can have the discussion forum. We can have other functionalities as well. And we also do a content recap of the ongoing week. So content recap, we do it in multiple ways. We do it in the form of visual summary. Also do it in the form of concept mapping and a short video, right? So this is how we do it. Going further, so these are the basic ethics and etiquettes which I request all my learners to keep your mind on mute, to avoid any unnecessary noise or disturbances, to unmute, to speak if you have any questions while responding, and kindly post the questions in the discussion forum, right? So that is also something which we expect. So this is the login page. The moment you log in with your registered email ID, this is how the web portal opens up, and it has lots and lots of sections, important ones which you need to learn, which you figure out, which you need to explore. We're discussing them, each of them individually. Now, all these sessions which we conduct are basically recorded. So all the recordings are available on my YouTube channel, and this is the location where it is recorded. And the presentations are converted into PDFs, and these are again uploaded into Google Drive, right? So there are two ways where these repositories are, wherein we can access the content here, and this is accessible using problem solving link. So you click here and then you click here, it will open up a spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet, if you look, there will be week-wise content. I'll just quickly show it to you so that you'll be able to understand it much better. Okay, so let me just quickly show it to you where the content is. So first, what you need to do is you need to log in your Swayam application portal. I hope, and then you have to go to your profile, to your courses. Once you get into your courses, you have to click on Go to Course. Right. Now we are talking about the discussion forum. No, not sorry, the problem solving sessions. If you see here, you can click here the problem solving section, and here comes the recording part. If you click here, it will open up this page. Now it says click here to view the problem solving session lectures. Now you have to click here, and this opens up the entire spreadsheet. Now, if you see here, for each week which has been already completed in the past, you can see a YouTube link, right? That's the comments folder, and then there are details about me, and then the number of people who are attending it, right? So this is going as per the trend. Usually, it is huge in the beginning, and then slowly and eventually it comes down, right? Okay, that's not a problem. We'll go back. All right. So, talking about the course preview, it is understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. And the course instructor is Professor Chakravarti. It's a 12-week course. And the assignment deadline for week 6 is 3rd of September. And the examination date is supposed to be 26th of October. It will be conducted either in the pre-lunch or post-lunch session, and the choice of venue will be as per what you have identified and submitted, right? A little bit about Professor Chakravarti. He was formerly from the IDC School of Design at IIT Bombay, Hawaii. And then he also was taking care of the DIC, which is the Design Innovation Center. And then they were at the School of Design and shaping up the School of Design at Mahindra University. All right. So this will be happening in the two sessions. It will be either a morning session or the post lunch session. And as I mentioned, the venue will be one of the locations which you have already submitted. So it will be that. Okay. And when you click on progress tab, you have to see these three heads, which is the assessment score, unit-wise progress, and the grading and certification policy. Now, this is the part which I usually discuss in my presentation. Unit-wise progress is something, how much content you have gone through, how much content you have experienced, and then the assessment scores. How are you performing in your this thing sessions. So you are here at the request tab, and if you happen to click and explore this, so in the unit-wise progress, you will see there are some certain kind of bars. Now the blue ones indicate the content which I've seen. The gray one basically tells you the amount of content which is not seen, it's not yet viewed. All right. So these are the basic details. There were some concessions, fee waivers for the SST and the PWD category. There was this last date of examination, which I believe all those who are, happen to gain the certificate, they've already done it. There was an extension of registration to the course, which was 22nd of August, which again is a date which has gone by. And here comes the criteria to gain the certificate. Now, this is important, and we'll be discussing a little bit about it. I would request our learners to just have a quick look at it, and I'll help you understand what we are doing with this. So just quickly have a reading about it, and we'll talk the scenarios. Okay. So there are two components for the evaluation. One is the internal and another is the external. Now, by internal, we mean the live assignment questions. Okay. So you have to score a certain amount in that. So it is out of 25, it is out of 75, so that your score is now this needs to be greater than 10, this needs to be greater than 30, so that your overall score is greater than 40. Okay. Now here comes the catch. For example, you scored scenario one is where you scored 20, and here you scored 25. Your overall score is 45. Or now, do you think you'll get the certification? No, it's because you are not meeting this criteria. Okay, so no certificate. Let's take scenario two. You scored 5 here. You scored 50 here. Your score is 55. It is much greater than the previous one. But again, you are not meeting this criteria, which means no certificate. So cross means no certificate. If you're a student, professional, and you are in need of certificate, then I would suggest that please take these internals and externals very, very seriously, because this is how which will define your certification criteria. Okay. Yeah, if you have been following these courses, if you have been a part of the live assignments, and if you have been diligently attempting your courses, then I think this is just a number you'll be easily able to, manage these courses. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's important to give equal weightage in both. All right. Let's proceed. Now, what you see here is basically the content recap from the previous weeks. Okay, so we are doing content recap at two levels. We are doing it week-wise, basic heads which we have covered. And the second aspect is the ongoing week's content. We are also doing recap of that. Okay, so today we'll be discussing about week 6, but this basically tells journey about how we have progressed from week 1 to week 6. Okay, so if you remember, we started with the introduction to entrepreneurship, evidence-based entrepreneurship, reasons why startups fail, and then the journey of Mr. Dinoj. Okay. Two was about journey of Mustafa from the ID battle. Talking about the entrepreneurship, how it started, and then the three members from the GDC programs, which were Mr. Anurag, Amit, and Mayuri, who shared their perspective and their journey, their high points, their low points, and their experiences from GTC and their own journey started. Then comes week 3, which was about methodology of innovation by Chuck, who shared his 7 concerns. It starts from the cause and ends with the connect. And then the week 4 was about the ideas program and the solar one case study of Mr. Avinash. This was followed by week 5, which was about the healthcare. Now we are specific on the healthcare perspective with medtech success stories and the innovation process, which was about the 4D, if you all remember that. And then week 6 is about human-centered innovation, wherein we have content from Ms. Shilpi from the Hose Labs and Mr. Thayan from the Effort Studio. Right. So we will be specifically discussing these two contents today. Now, these have been the two typology of questions which we have normally seen in the NPTEL. The first one is where you have a single correct answer. The second typology is wherein you have multiple correct answers. Okay, so these are the two typologies of questions you'll normally see in the NPTEL. Uh, so I can choose only one of them. So I can choose, say, for example, with Sparata. But here, if I want, I can select multiple. So I can select 2 of them, 3 of them, or in fact 4 of them. But while selecting these 4 options, it is also important to understand the underlying calculations. Okay. So this is the underlying principle. I would like read it once. Just take a minute and try to understand what you're trying to say, and then I'll be discussing it once again. Okay. Okay. So for you to make understand, how this marking of multiple choice questions happen. So we have got 3 underlying principles, and if you quickly read about it, I'll explain you with the example of how this marking criteria is working on. Okay. So we have got a sample question. The sample question is okay. So the sample question says, which among the following is in fan industry? Okay, you can call it fan, ceiling fan. So the options are Usha, Havells, Attenberg, and Lenim. Okay, so obviously Usha, Havells, and Attenberg are in the fan industry, and Lenovo is basically the industry. It's not specifically into a fan industry. Okay, so desktop systems and laptops they are from. Okay, now let's take the first scenario, and it says if all the options chosen by the student are correct and no incorrect answer has been chosen, then full marks. Okay. So in this scenario, if I submit A, B, C, and if I submit it, And in this particular scenario, I've chosen all the correct ones, and I'll get full marks. All right, I think this is very straightforward and very clear. Let's understand scenario two. It says if at least one incorrect answer has been chosen, then no marks. Okay. For example, if I chosen A, B, and D, if I chose A, B, C, and D, if I had chosen A, B, and D, and likewise B, C, and D, A, D, in all these scenarios, I am selecting one incorrect answer. Okay, what is that? That is option D. In all these scenarios, if you take C, we have the incorrect option. Now, if I select one incorrect option, then no marks. And let's come to the final scenario, which is scenario three, which says if only correct answers are chosen, but not all correct answers are chosen. Okay. Now, which basically leads to a point that you are selecting A, B, and C. Obviously, these are the correct ones. Let me just delete one of them. Okay. Or I select A and B, I select A and C, I select B and C, or I select A, B, C individually. In all these scenarios, I'll be getting some marks, which are proportional marks. Okay. Which means I'll be getting somewhere around 0.66 for these two and probably around 0.33 for these. Okay. So if you're getting marks in decimal, it basically is because of this particular principles of proportional marking. Okay. But this is applicable only when you respond to the correct choices. Okay, let's proceed further. Okay, so these are the people who were the top GMET learners for the previous week. We've got Darshil, Riya, Radhika, Bhavna, Rashika, Amila, and Shri Santhia here. So well done for being consistent and for being there on these problem solving sessions. Let me just quickly write a congratulations. Okay. Now here we start the content recap. Now, if you've diligently gone through the content, then obviously you can sit back and relax. It will act as a reminder, a brief review for you. It's like a preview, and you can quickly go through it. It's basically a visual summary. It's a visual snapshot summary that helps you quickly revise what was the content about. Okay. So we saw Ms. Shilpi Kumar was the founder of Coach Labs who had come and shared her perspective of how she is driving innovation in organizations and companies, right? So her background, if you see, is also similar to mine, wherein there is a bachelor's of architecture degree and then master's of design from IIT Bombay, and then she did another master's of design methods, right, from the Institute of Design in Illinois at Chicago. So these are the various viewpoints which the presenter highlights, and I think you've all gone through it. She talks about what are the different roles she has adopted, and she's still adopted for various projects, in different companies which she has already worked upon, including Urban Miller and the GE Electric, right? And how they have been working on at the Coach Labs, where they have a diverse field set, people from different domains who are working, and what kind of work they are doing, what kind of projects they are taking as a part of innovation in the organizations. And then she highlights the book of Design for the Real World by Viktor Popanek, and talks about why we need to get rid of the Jugaad mindset and how it is obstructing the path of innovation, right? And these are other, so the second presenter, Mr. Thai Kumar, uh, and he is from the Apple Studios, talks about design as a service. Again, he's an alumni from IT. Pune, if you see here, and then he had worked for different companies for launching his own studio, which is the F1 Studio. So it says startup. Okay. It is the philosophy of science, simplicity, empathy, and agility. And the services for YFN Studios. And then comes designer as an entrepreneur. This is how the teams have been working around, how they have helped other organizations, in terms of their work efficiency. Right? And I think all this is there. You can also content. My aim of having this is to give you a visual imagery which is there, right? This is important. He mentions that it's important to be transparent with our clients, and what we do is we also share what are the tools which we are using and at different stages. So the learn, you can see the three tools, then define, iterate, prototype, test, and implement. So all this is there, and they're very transparent with clients. So what you see is the timeline. It is also called as a Gantt chart. Okay, and these are the feedback scenario, how they enjoy their time together. So apart from working, it's also about getting together, the good mix of the people around, how they make their lives exciting. And these are all the students from the IT Hyderabad, yes. So what I do is I quickly a short video and uh, so this video I've created, it's basically around the premise of week 6. I would like you to see, have a
You
look.
know that classic story, right? The lone genius has a sudden flash of inspiration, that aha moment that just changes everything. We love to romanticize the big idea. But today, we're going to poke some holes in that story because it turns out that brilliant idea, that's often the easiest part of the whole journey. So, let's really think about this for a second. What's actually more important for success? Is it that initial spark of creation?
Let me
You
read.
know that classic story, right? The lone genius has a sudden flash of inspiration, that aha moment that just changes everything. We love to romanticize the big idea. But today, we're going to poke some holes in that story because it turns out that brilliant idea, that's often the easiest part of the whole journey. So, let's really think about this for a second. What's actually more important for success? Is it that initial spark of creation, or is it the long and, let's be honest, often messy process of actually turning that spark into a real flame? And this quote from design strategist Shilpi Kumar just nails it. The idea is the seed, but it's only 5 to 10% of the whole thing. It's super important, yeah, but it has to be nurtured. We get so obsessed with the seed, we totally forget that it needs good soil and water and sunlight to have any chance of growing. And that's the real takeaway here. Great ideas don't usually die because they're bad ideas. They die because the system they're planted in just isn't built to help them grow. All right, so first up, let's talk about what happens inside a company. We're going to call it the internal gauntlet. And to understand it, we'll follow the story of that same design strategist, Shilpi Kumar, to see exactly why so many good ideas get crushed before they even have a chance. Okay, so picture this. Early in her career, Shilpi gets this one-page brief. The assignment? Design a single drawer unit for a call center. That's it. That's the whole brief. No context, no here's what the user is going through, nothing. And that's when it clicked for her. There was this giant invisible wall between her design work and how the business actually operated. She realized she wasn't really being asked to solve a person's problem. She was just checking a box, filling a line item. The whole system was just broken. So that experience led her to come up with this really powerful concept she calls human-centered operations. And the idea is actually pretty simple, but it's also kind of radical. It's about taking all those tools we use to understand customers, like empathy and user research, and turning them inward on the company itself. You have to design the journey of an idea inside your organization with the same level of care you'd use to design a product for a paying customer. And in her research, she uncovered these 3 huge myths that just absolutely kill innovation inside companies. First, this idea that innovation is just one bright idea. That completely ignores all the collaboration it takes to make something real. Then there's the myth that it needs an immediate ROI, which just strangles any kind of experimentation. And finally, the belief that innovation is just this natural phenomenon that, happens. That's just an excuse not to do the hard work of building the systems to make it possible. The bottom line is innovation isn't magic. It has to be designed, it has to be orchestrated. Okay, so that's the internal pipeline sorted. But what happens when the idea finally makes it out the door? This is where we bring in the perspective of agency founder Diane. You could say that if Shilby teaches us how to protect an idea on the inside, Diane shows us how to design its delivery to the outside world. Diane has this amazing analogy that I love. Imagine you're a graphic designer and you create this absolutely incredible piece of artwork for a t-shirt. Is your job done? No way. Think about it. What does the customer actually get? They experience the feel of the fabric, the quality of the printing, how fast it was delivered. That amazing artwork, it's just one small piece of the entire experience. And this really drives the point home. The actual design, craft, the idea part, is maybe 10% of what creates the business value. That other 90%? Well, that's the service that wraps around it. It's the communication, the process, the reliability, the whole delivery experience. That's the business. And as Diane herself says, that service part has a huge impact. It's not just about your design and creativity. And really, that's the difference between just being a creative person who makes nice things and being a real business that delivers tangible value. So, what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's check out an example of how this focus on service can turn a good design project into a fantastic business outcome. Okay, check this out. Diane's team gets hired by WestJet Airlines. The problem? Their customer service agents were stuck using this super complicated, totally cluttered internal portal. Now, her team didn't just go in and give it a pretty new look. No, they did the real work. They went and sat with the agents, they watched them work, and they found out that 80% of everything they did boiled down to just 3 main tasks. So that became their entire focus. And the result? Get this, an 80% reduction in the time it took for an agent to solve a customer's problem. Just let that sink in for a minute. That's not just a design win. That is a massive business win. We're talking about saving money, making employees way more effective, and creating much, much happier customers. It's a total game changer. And this really gets to her secret weapon for growth. Her agency grew to over 60 people with 0 people on the sales team. How is that even possible? Simple. They let the work do the talking. By delivering these incredible, measurable results, projects like the one for WestJet basically became their best advertisement. Okay, so let's tie this all together now. We've looked at the internal system with Shilpi and the external delivery system with Diane. What does it look like when we combine these two halves to create the complete picture of innovation? Well, it turns out they're really just two sides of the same coin. When you put their insights together, you get the whole playbook. Shilpi shows us how to design the pathways for ideas to survive and thrive inside the organization. And Diane shows us how to design the service that delivers that value outside to the customer. And the truth is, you absolutely need both of them to win. Because at the end of the day, this is what it's really all about. True success isn't about how brilliant your initial idea was. It's about how well you designed the entire seamless end-to-end system that allows that idea to travel from just a spark in someone's head all the way to a happy, satisfied customer. All right, so what does all this mean for you? How do you go from being just an ideas person to someone who actually builds the systems that make ideas real? Let's break it down into a simple, actionable playbook. First things first, you have to actively challenge those innovation myths inside your own organization. Don't let them slide. Second, actually map out the internal journey. Where do ideas get stuck? What are the real roadblocks? Third, define your service model. Think beyond the thing you're making. How will you deliver value around it? And finally, fourth, let your impact be your marketing. Focus on creating measurable results and let those results become your most powerful sales pitch. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The next time you have one of those brilliant aha moments, I want you to just pause. Don't get lost obsessing over the idea itself. Instead, ask yourself a much more important question. What is the system this idea needs to survive, to grow, and to actually make a real impact? Because look, having the idea, that's the easy part. Designing the system to make it real, that is the true work of innovation.
So what we'll do is we'll quickly do a concept mapping here, uh, which again has been developed in a tool called Notebook. Just give me a minute and I'll show you. All right. So this again is a way of understanding the my voice is there. This way of understanding the course content which has been covered in week six. What so again read it as the high end is the high end and Shelby Kumar. And, these were the two mighties of this particular week six. Shilpi Kumar was talking about the human-centered innovation. Now, if you see here, uh, let's start with the background expertise. Again, she is from the IT Bombay, 18 years of experience as a strategist, UX researcher, industrial designer, as well as a design educator. Reflecting upon her career journeys, and she had taken up very corporate roles, advocate roles, uh, worked with the craft industry, and at the academic level, she had also worked. And then if you see, she founded this coach lab in 2018, and we had very different service options. Now that's important because there, if you see, it's about client work pro bono, which is for the non-profit, where they are not charging anybody for the social impact, and then learning and building frameworks and thought leadership. Right. Uh, Talking about the pillars of value, you've got problem framing, insight-led innovation, and institutionalizing the innovation. And then comes the true value of design, which is about the intersection of between the intersection of people, technology, and business. And if you expand it, then comes the inclusiveness, justice, system, and the environment. Right. Uh, Now coming on to the myths of innovation, if you have seen, there were seven myths, and they have created an entire video of very interesting video which has been created by Studio Community. So the first myth was innovation is one bright idea. Then comes the second myth, which is innovation is to fight competition. Then third is about digital transformation is innovation. Fourth is about that innovation is expensive. Then the third one is that innovation has a immediate ROI, which is the return of investment. You are able to see the outputs much faster. Innovation is a one-time act, but you have to do it continuously, and repeat. And then innovation is a natural phenomenon, rather it is a forced activity to change the mindsets of the people, right? So this is where it is a very interesting video, and I think you must have a greater look at it. I'm just showing the quick recap of it. Then comes the barriers to innovation, which is about the Indian mindset of risk averse and copycat culture, how do we frame the problems right, and the leadership and the capability gap. And finally, coming on to the research and interviewing skills, we have to overcome the language barrier by utilizing different personas, stakeholders, and translators. This is how they decide upon the approach and the habits. Now, basically, they are trying to, this particular aspect, the students have raised a question, and that's what they are trying to respond to by these answers. Okay. And now let's come to Mr. Thayan from the F1 Studios. Let's see his background and journey. So he had got interest in football, cinema, and design, and he's again an architect from architect and master of design, something again very similar to our profile. And then he tells about the business philosophy, and the values relates to simplicity, empathize, and speed, especially it matters in the digital world. And then he talks about how post COVID they changed their strategy, everything that came remote, and how they were working in. They also just showed a small video where the company, the people from the company, they shared what is challenging, and they those things. The learnings for digital entrepreneurship, again, like the what you'll be able to see, how these are different fears, success, uh, examples, how do you find your success, this model, and how the entire service is important rather than just your skill of designing. It gives a very beautiful example of say, for example, you're very good at the graphic design, but then for an end user, you want to use it in a t-shirt or a mug. But if that quality of mug is not good, if that quality of t-shirt is not good, then it will have a bad experience. If you are expected to deliver the product by, say, first week, and if it is still not delivered by 2 weeks, then again it affects your experience, right? So the service aspect, is the majority part, is 80 part, and the 20 part is your skill around designing. So you have to take care of that when you're doing the business aspect. Okay. These are some other aspects about into it. Then comes in part of design. These are some of the examples wherein they have worked and how they improvise the workflow, they improvise the efficiency of the people who are using the portal, and saved a lot of time, and how they got the repeat projects. And it's major highlights of these case studies. Then comes building a successful design service. So you've got the user client relationship, process of management. How do you define it? How do you do it? How do you do it? By building the trust, by being transparent. We had a slide wherein we showed that these are the different tools they are using for these different stages. Now that is how you build trust. You need to acknowledge the ecosystem, you need to share success and take failure in terms of process and management. You need to be able to see, it's about what kind of methodology they have been taken up, and then the product strategy with timelines and everything. Just opening it so that we can have a closer look at it. Team and culture. He also emphasized on culture in very they frequently had team outings where they would go, they would enjoy, they would have a good time all together. All that is also very, very important. It's not just work, it is also about how you bond with your team and what kind of environment the team and the company is providing. That matters what you can see, the Friday Funda, Open Credit, So all that is there, all that is available. Then comes the entrepreneurial impact. People channels, meet celebrities, we collaborate, spread the word about design impact, and you can continuous learning. So that is how we include the entire. That is something which I have you in terms of this concept mapping, mind mapping. It is all there, just a different way of showcasing it. And let's go back to our slides. Okay, so we'll be taking a break, but let us take a few questions, and then we will take a break. Okay, so let's start with the first question. The first question is, according to Ms. Shilpi Kumar, the balance of which aspects are important for a startup, right? The options given to you are business, psychological, and emotional needs, human, business, and customer needs, people, technology, and business needs, and technology, social. So all of you have three options, and these three options, you have four options basically. You need to tell us the balance of which aspects are important for a startup. Okay, so we are talking about balance of three things which are very, very critical. And what are those three things? Is it the business, psychological, and emotional needs? Is it human, business, and customer needs? Is it the people, technology, and business needs, or technology, social, and company needs? We've got four options, and only one of them is correct. So I'll give you a minute. You can discuss, think, evaluate. Is the character and instinct for a point. What you can do is you can respond by applying as a message, and you tell us, what are these three aspects, the three aspects which are important for startup. According to, that is also important because that is giving the context. Yes. Should should be quite strong. Which labs? Okay. So take a minute, read the question, understand it, and let me know what is the correct answer. Think about it. Let me know what is the right answer. Take a minute to explore, understand what we're talking about. We're talking about which labs and three aspects which are important for the startup. Okay, so let me do the screen validation. We've given them enough time. So what you see here, we frame problems and work on innovation that balance human technology and business needs. So if you see, there is this aspect of people, the business, and the technology, right? Value and design and innovation. Okay. So if you see the correct answer, it is people, technology, and business, or human technology. So if it is human or people, it is fine. You can select this option. Right? So the correct answer is the three aspects which are important is people, technology, and business. Okay. These three are very critical for a startup. Okay. Let's go. Second question. As presented in the Hoj Labs case study by Ms. Shilpi, the old ways of innovation or jugaad, okay, in the Indian context leads to which following phenomenon? The option is copy paste culture, success, increasing scalings of operations, or challenges new ways of doing business. Now, page. Okay. So the question is that the old ways of innovation or jugaad in the Indian context are the application leads to which of the following phenomena? We're talking about what is that phenomena which is happening because of jugaad mindset. Okay, we've got one more for option B. Okay. The options are copy paste culture, success, increased scaling of the operations, and challenges new ways of doing business. I'd like to remind that it is a multi-select question, so there will be multiple correct answers. Okay. There are more than one correct answer, and you have to tell us, according to Michelle P. Kumar, the old ways of innovation or jugaad in the Indian context leading to a particular phenomenon. What is that phenomenon? Take a minute, understand the question, and we'll figure it out. Hmm. The context of this Shilpi Kumar from Fuj Labs, and they're trying to understand the old ways of innovation and the jugaad mindset in the Indian context, what it leads to, what kind of phenomena happens. Okay, is it the copy paste culture? Is it the success? Is it the increased scales of operations or the challenges, new ways of doing things? We've got one vote for option D, and we are just waiting if there are any further comments and votes, and then we proceed with the validation. Take some time, think about the question, recall what Michelle Shilpi Kumar has to say about the old ways of innovation. It's very clear, very direct in the presentation. Think about it, revisit the Shilpi Kumar's context of Kuch Labs case study, wherein, the old ways of innovation or jugaad in the Indian context, she mentioned lead to a particular phenomena. And you'll have to figure out, what was that phenomena. Now you've got a multi-select question wherein you have multiple correct answers. whether it is copy paste culture success or increased scaling of operations or challenges new ways of doing business. We have got one vote for option D, and we're just waiting if other respondents can reply to. Okay, now let's have a look at what the screen validation says. So if you look at the video and if you go to this particular timestamp on the week sixth first lecture of Shilpi Kumar, you'll figure out she is referring to a particular phenomena, and that's about the Jugaad mindset, which is Control C, Control V, and the old ways of doing business and the new ways of doing business. It is challenging both of them. So the correct answers, as rightly pointed out, one is option A, which is the copy paste culture, and one is option D, which is challenges new ways of doing business. All right. So these are the two correct answers. One of the learners has correctly pointed it out. So well done. These are two answers. The two phenomena which are led due to Jugaad innovation, the immediate contrast is the copy paste culture, and it challenges the new ways of doing business. Okay. Well done. Here we reach out to our third question. Okay. And the third question is about which book was referred by Ms. Shilpi Kumar from Coach Labs. Now she makes a recommendation for a particular book. You need to tell us the book. The options are Keep It Simple and Stupid. It's quite a famous book. It's equal to the emotional design for the real world and design of everyday things. Okay. It's a single correct answer. It's a question. You have to identify the book recommended by Mission. All right. So once again, we have got one more for option C. Which book was referred by Vishnu Kumar from the Coach Lab? Is it Keep It Simple and Stupid, Emotional Design for the Real World, and the Design of Everyday Things? Now, all these books which you see here is quite celebrated among designers. Okay, so from intuition, it would be hard to tell what is the correct response to it. But then, if you think a little deeper and if you have gone through the content, it would be easier to reply to this particular question. We'll give the learners a minute to read the question, try and identify the correct response, and we'll share the screen validation and shall let you know the correct answer of this question. We have got one vote for option C, and let's see if there are any further votes to the question. Okay, so let's do the screen validation. But enough time. So yes, the correct answer is designed for the real world. The author of the book is Viktor Papanek. The design for the real world has since its first appearance 25 years ago, 25 years long back, become a classic translated into 23 languages. It is one of the oldest and widely read books on design. Okay. Victor Papanek examines the attempts by designers to combat the tawdry, the unsafe, the frivolous, the useless product, and once again provide a blueprint for sensible, responsible design in this world which is deficient in resources and energy. Okay. So if you would like to read this book, I think it's a very good reading. Just keep a note of it. Designed for the Real World by Victor Papanek. Correct answer is option C. Designed for the real world. That's correctly pointed out by one of the learners. Okay. The author is Victor Papanek. Okay, so let's go to our fourth question. The fourth question is about what is the first step in trying to solve a problem? And this needs to be answered in the context of Ms. Shilpi Kumar. Okay, if you're trying to solve a problem, okay, there are multiple steps to it. We need to know the first step of solving a problem. Okay, what is that first step? The options are trying to find a solution to a given design brief, figuring out what the user needs are, framing the problem as a problem, and fulfilling the business needs and growth. Okay. So again, it's a radio one question, which means only one correct answer. So again, you have got time. Just go through the question, try to recollect what was told, what was informed. आपको बताना है कि इनमें से which one is the correct answer. What is the first step? We are talking about the first step. First step in solving a problem. What is that first step? Is it about trying to find a solution? About finding out what the user needs are? Is it about framing the problem as a problem and fulfilling the business needs and growth? Okay. Take a minute, think about the question, and let me know the correct answer. Take a minute, think about the question, revisit the content which has been shared, and let me know your response to the question. First step towards solving a problem in the context of Ms. Shilpi Kumar. Four options have been already shared with you, and only one of them is correct. So you have to tell us which one is the correct answer. Let's take a look at the correct answer. Ms. Shilpi Kumar says, framing the problem as a problem, not to validate if it is this is a good design. So the question that the first step that one has to take is framing the problem as a problem. Okay. So the correct answer is option C. The first step in trying to solve a problem is about framing the problem as a problem. Right? That is correct answer. We'll move on to the fifth question, but let me just quickly have a look at the. Yeah, all right. Recording is going on. Okay. Okay. So here comes the question. The question is about, according to Mr. Dhayan, which of the following forms the philosophy of F1 Studios? The options are simplicity, empathy, agility, and customer feedback. Now, it's a very direct question, and if you recall, Mr. Dhayan is from the F1 Studios, and he recalls which of the following forms the philosophy of F1 Studios. Okay, so if you remember the philosophy, three dimensions, and you have to tell us what those three aspects are. Is it the simplicity, empathy, agility, or the customer feedback? Now, again, it's a multiple choice question, okay? And which also means there is multiple correct answers. Think about it. Let me know. Again, we are referring to Mr. Dhayan Kumar, who is from the IDC School of Design and is the founder at the F1 Studios. And he suggests that these forms the philosophy of F1 Studios. You need to tell us what actually forms the philosophy. Okay, we've got four options: simplicity, empathy, agility, and the customer feedback. Okay, I think it's a very direct question. Think about it. According to Mr. Dhayan, who is the founder of F1 Studios, what are the three aspects that forms the philosophy of F1 Studios? So you can put your text as Gmeet chat. You can unmute and speak. whichever option you feel is comfortable, you can proceed with that. Very direct question for Mr. Fire. What forms the philosophy of FL Studios? The options are simplicity, empathy, agility, and customer feedback. So you've got 1 more minute left, and then we will discuss the correct answer. Think about it. Let me know. Okay. So let's do the screen validation. I think we've got enough time. The FL philosophy is about three aspects of simplicity, empathy, and agility. Okay, just remember the three dimensions of F1's philosophy. F1 Studios by Mr. Bhain Kumar. Simplicity, empathy, and agility. The correct answers are option A, option B, and option C. Simplicity, empathy, and agility. Okay. These are the three aspects which forms the philosophy of F1 Studios. Very direct question. I think now you'll remember it. Not a very tricky question as well. Okay. Let's come to our sixth question. According to Mr. B. Kumar from the Coach Labs, how can we make Dash flow better in a Dash? Now, see how the question has been framed. It's a sentence which has been converted into a fill in the blanks. All right. And that has been converted into a MCQ. See the interesting part. Okay. So a sentence is converted into a fill in the blanks, and that in itself is converted into an MCQ. Okay. So you have to tell us how can we make dash flow better in a dash. The options are how can we make ideas flow better in a team, ideas flow better in an organization, concepts flow better in a team, and concepts flow better in an organization. Basically, there are two terms and they have been changed multiple times for both the blanks. There is blank one and there is blank. Okay. You have to tell us from these two blanks, how can we make dash flow better in a dash? Okay. Take your time, think about it, recall the concepts, recall what you have already done, and do share your opinions. What we'll do is we can do one thing. Oh, so sorry. We can play some mild music in the background. Question is there, very clear, right? Explicitly mentioned, and you have to tell us the correct answer. How can we make Dash flow better in a Dash? The options are ideas and concepts. The second blank, the options are teams and organizations. So you have to tell us what is the correct combination of ideas, concepts, team, and organization. So after 1 minute, we'll show the correct answer. You have a minute to explore. Tell us what could be the right answer. Again, it is in the context of Ms. Shilpi Kumar, and when she is trying to tell how, in the context of innovation, can be driven. You have to tell us whether it should be driven in an organization or whether it has to be driven in a team, because that will actually help you guide to the answer of this question. Okay, I think we have taken decent time. So, trying to find the disconnects and the diagnosis of an organization, how can we make ideas flow better in an organization? Okay, correct answer is how can we make ideas flow better in an organization? Okay, the correct answer is B. So, a little tricky question, but then it's very direct. If you are aware, if you are able to understand what we are discussing about, it will be quite clear. Let's come to a seventh question. According to Mr. Dhayan, what are the important learnings? Okay, again, Mr. Dhayan is from the studios. According to him, you have to tell us what are the important learnings. Is it about learning how to share a success, taking as much work as possible, being ready to accept the failure, and respecting the timeline even if it means not giving great work? So you've got four options and there are multiple correct answers. Okay. So you have to tell us the important learnings according to Mr. Dhayan. Okay. It's from the F1 students. Okay. So again, a question very pertinent because it talks about the takeaways and you have to tell us what is the important learnings from Mr. Dhayan. Important learnings from Mr. Dhayan. You've got four options: learning how to share the success, taking as much work as possible, be ready to accept the failure, and respecting the timeline, even if it means not giving great work. Okay. Take a minute, think about it, explore, and let me know the correct answer. So again, you have one more minute. Think about it. Let me know. What would be the correct answer? Take 1 more minute and we will discuss the correct answer. Okay, we have given enough time. Let's discuss the correct answer. Learn how to share the success and be ready to accept the failures. Very, very important. So, what do you mean by the first line? Learn how to share success. So, if you're working on a project and that has been successful, it's important that you share the success with your team. Okay, it's very important that you should share the success with your team. It could be in different ways. It could be done in multiple ways. You can give them the credit, you can acknowledge their work, you can do a team outing, you can go for a team dinner and things like that. But sharing success is very, very important. Okay, bringing them to the podium, acknowledging their work and their support, and what they have done, much value they have created in that project. It's very important to do that and be ready to accept the failures. So, if there is a project which has not worked out well, there has been challenges, it did not work out, or the client was not that compatible, or there were other challenges, it is important to accept those things as well. Okay. So, both the sides of the coin, success side and the failure side, both has to be acknowledged. Okay. So, the correct answers are A, how to share the success. You need to learn. Okay. And C, which is about being ready to accept the failure. Okay, let's come to the question number 8. Complete the following sentence as mentioned by Mr. Thayan. As a designer, must also learn to empathize with dash and dash. These are the two blanks. Again, very direct ones. If you have been following this entire course, you'll be able to do it. The options are users, organization, market, and business. So, two of them are correct, right? Are correct. Question is which two? Okay. So again, take some time, think about it. We are talking about Mr. Dhayan Kumar, and he says that as a designer, one must also learn to empathize with dash and dash. The two blanks, the options could be users, organizations, market, and business. Think about it, revisit what you have learned. Just for your understanding, option is उपयोगकर्ता. Option B is संगठन, which is organization. Option C is market, जिसको हम बाजार कहते हैं. And option D is business, व्यवसाय. Okay. So you have to tell, as a designers, one must learn to empathize with what two aspects. Is it the users or the उपयोगकर्ता, organization or the संगठन, market, yani bazaar, and business, meaning व्यवसाय. Okay, you've got four options, and you have to tell us which one is the correct one, which two of them are in fact the correct ones. Okay, again, take a minute, think about it, and let me. Take your time, think about it, let me know, take a minute more, and we will be discussing the correct answer very soon. Okay. All right, so I think we have got enough time. Let's go ahead and discuss the correct answer. So the correct answer is about empathizing with business aspect as well and use the users. Okay, so user and business are the two dimensions which we needs to be very critical about, very empathetic about, and this is the correct answer. Okay, so that is option A. Users, this entire course is discussing these two aspects of users, potential users, target audience, customers. That's where it is important that you must empathize with the users and the business side of it, because you need to make money, you need to stay afloat, you have to ensure your finances, and then you also need to empathize with your users who are your target audience, who are your potential customers. That is equally important. Okay. Going on to our second last question. Complete the following sentence as said by Mr. Thayan. Success criteria is dashed when there is lack of focus. Options are lesser, greater, enhanced, or irrelevant. Okay. You have to tell us the complete sentence. Success criteria is dashed when there is lack of focus. So lack of focus is basically dhyan, kami. You're not paying full attention to it, and your options are lesser, greater, enhanced, and it is irrelevant. So lesser is कम, greater is ज्यादा या फिर अधिक, enhanced उन्नत, and irrelevant प्रासंगिक. Okay. To refer to what Mr. Dhayan has said about success criteria, which is सफलता के मानदंड. सो सफलता के मानदंड ध्यान की कमी से क्या होता है? वो कम होते हैं, ज्यादा होते हैं, उन्नत होते हैं, अप्रासंगिक होते हैं, या फिर सक्सेस क्राइटेरिया इज डैश व्हेन देयर इज अ लैक ऑफ फोकस. इज इट लेजर, ग्रेटर, enhanced, or irrelevant? Okay, you have to tell which of the four options are correct. Lesser, greater, enhanced, or relevant. Again, take a couple of minutes, understand the question, reflect upon what you have learned, and I believe you will be able to guess the right answer. Okay, so take a minute, read the question, let me know the correct answer. Success criteria is dash the first blank when there is lack of focus. So ध्यान की कमी से सक्सेस क्राइटेरिया पे कैसे इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है? क्या वो कम होता है, ज्यादा होता है, enhanced होता है, या फिर irrelevant हो जाता है? That we have to figure out. We'll take one more minute and then we'll discuss this. Success criteria is dash when there is a lack of focus. सफलता के मानदंड में क्या होता है जब ध्यान में कमी होती है? Got four options: lesser, greater, enhanced, and irrelevant. Okay, I think it's time. Let's do the screen validation. So success criteria is lesser when there is a lack of focus. जाहिर सी बात है, when there is a lack of focus, then obviously you won't be able to concentrate much. You won't be able to put more of focus, more of attention. So obviously it will be lesser. It can't be greater, it can't be enhanced, and irrelevant doesn't make sense. So even if you don't know the context, you will be able to guess it very correctly. Success criteria is lesser when there is a lack of. So it happens, no? If there is a lack of focus, you won't be able to perform well in your examination. You won't be able to recall things, right? So the correct answer is lesser. And comes to our 10th question. As per Mr. Thayan, during your initial stage, dash is much important than a big team. What is it? Is it good work, good client, good mobile applications, or good websites? प्रारंभिक अवस्था में क्या ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण है एक बड़ी टीम से? That you have to tell. Take your time, think about it. We are here on our last question. एक So initial stage is प्रारंभिक चरण. Okay. Dash is much more important than a victim. बड़ी से अधिक महत्वपूर्ण है. Is it about good work, which is अच्छा काम, गुड क्लाइंट विजिट अच्छा ग्राहक। अच्छा मोबाइल ऐप या फिर एक अच्छी वेबसाइट। Again, I'm repeating the question. As per Mr. Zayan, during your initial stage, dash is much more important than a big team. Is it your good work? Is it good client? Is it good mobile applications or good websites? प्रारंभिक चरणों में एक बड़ी टीम से अधिक महत्वपूर्ण क्या है? क्या वो अच्छा काम है, अच्छे ग्राहक हैं, अच्छा मोबाइल ऐप है या फिर एक अच्छा वेबसाइट? Just take a minute, think about it, and repeat. Okay, let's do the screen validation. During your initial stage, good work is much more important than a big team. तो यानी कि जब आप शुरू करते हैं, when you are at a very initial stage, when you are beginning with a startup, rather than having a very big team, it's important that you do some good work. You build some good work with your great clients, and that is where the correct answer is option A. Okay, what is important? Important is your good work. Okay. So with that, we conclude our set of 10 questions. The questions in the discussion forum are being responded by another TA who's actively responding to those questions. And what I do is I'll just quickly open up the thing and like to show the Q&A section, which is Google discussion forum based. So if you see, all these questions are being responded to. So we are considering the state out of 12 do not visit them, please plan accordingly. Right? So it is being responded to by, see, all these questions are being responded, so you don't have to miss any question and it is available there. Okay. So I think with that we can conclude our session for today. Uh, Let me come back my screen. I'll stop sharing and okay. Not visible. All right. So with that, we conclude our session. Thank you so much for joining in. Just, there has been some responses. Thank you so much. Thank you for your responses. Most appreciated. And we conclude our session. Great. And what we'll do is we'll quickly save this as a PDF because this needs to be uploaded in the shared drive. And what we'll do is we'll open up the YouTube thing as well and we'll put this thing in the upload aspect as well. Right? Yeah. See, week six video is already, the PDF has been converted. Yes, it has been converted. Drop it here. All right. And we will stop the recording. Thank you so much.